Well, good morning, listeners, and all the social media people who are going to be watching this very, very soon. So, I am delighted this morning to welcome Candace. Now, Candace is a very unusual lady. She works in a very specific field, and as you know, the field that I'm in and a mission that I've been on for quite some time is I am here on a mission to help women take charge of their health naturally. So we're covering all aspects of how people can really take on board some of the wonderful tips and experience that my guests are offering you. So this morning, Candace Wong, I'm so delighted to have you with me. And a little bit about Candace. Candace works in a very specific area and she helps women who want to lose weight and build a healthier, sustainable lifestyle through personal step by step, the way she covers diet, exercise, and mindset. So those are the three areas that we'll look at with Candace this morning. So welcome, Candace.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Margie.
Maybe we should start with the question of why is it so important for someone like me to have a personal trainer?
Yeah, so in this current time and age, we have Google, we have YouTube, we just know so much more about just nutrition, healthier habits, exercise, and just dieting. Just like there's more information out there than ever. And we have so many different apps to help us track our habits, our weight, our diet. And But in the United States, the Centers for Disease Control say that there are more than 2 out of 3 women are considered overweight or obese. And so even we have all of this information and all this help, we're not applying what we know and being held accountable for the changes that we want to make. So that's why it's important to have a personal fitness trainer to help hold you accountable, to give you guidance during that journey.
Right. So I think I'm a bit guilty in that area because I decide I'm going to do this and then I don't do it because it's only me. So maybe I need someone like you too, Candace. So can I ask you, we've talked about it before, a little bit about lifestyle. How do you help women take on that aspect of looking at their health? We know that fitness is important, but the lifestyle of that person you're working with.
Yeah, so working with the trainer, they help hold you accountable for your actions, and more importantly, they kind of help you to create a custom plan that works for you where you're at right now, right? So oftentimes when we are looking to make drastic changes in our lifestyle and our health, we just make really big changes that are unsustainable and don't lead to long-term habits. And so because we attempt these really big changes, sometimes we often fail. We know when we cannot catch up with our diet or exercise plan for more than a week at a time. And so working with a health coach, a trainer, they can help break down these habits into bite-sized pieces, help to hold you accountable and kind of be your cheerleader to motivate you to keep going and to help you to troubleshoot the challenges that hold you back along the way.
Right. So one of the challenges I've experienced, and I know some of my friends have been in the same boat, it's that this week, this diet is the best one. Next week, it's another diet. Last year, it was another diet. What is your advice on all these diets that are out there to so-called lose weight and keep your body in the right place?
Yeah, so with the different diets, I believe all diets work, right? But it's the intent behind the diet, right? It's not necessarily the diet itself because many different diets work for different people. And the different diets that come out are just revisions of old diets that have been relabeled into something new. Like Atkins diet is the keto diet, but it's been remarketed. So it's all the marketing, right? So the weight loss and diet industry is worth $78 billion in the United States. And most of that money comes from when you're failing on a diet, you kind of go back and you try something else, and that's more money for the diet industry.
So I must say, over the years have fallen into the trap of being a comfort eater. So even though I know I'm doing the wrong thing, I still do it. How do you help people like me?
Yeah, so it's very common. A lot of people eat for many reasons besides just hunger, right? It's part of our culture. We celebrate with food. We find comfort in food. A lot of people stress eat with food. And so there's many reasons to kind of why we eat besides just hunger. And so one of the things with just emotional eating is, how to break that pattern is identifying what triggers you, right? What triggers that response of having the need to kind of actually go to the kitchen and get something to eat, right? And once you're able to identify the trigger, you can disrupt the pattern and make different choices. So if you realize that maybe this behavior occurs maybe every time when your mom calls, or on Sunday nights when you're dreading the start of a new week, or whenever you see or smell or hear something that maybe reminds you of your ex, right? When you were able to identify this trigger, in coaching, we call this noticing and naming. It offers great opportunities for us to regain control and create that awareness. And so usually with emotional eating, it's part of a pattern of behavior that's triggered by a specific experience, like a thought, a feeling, or situation. But if you understand and you realize what is triggering you in the first place, you can pause and then realize that there is a space where you can make a decision to do something different besides resorting to food.
Right. So would you put that down as success for healthy choices or healthy goals? How do you guide someone towards those choices?
Yeah. So, the big success is oftentimes the first step is just being aware, right? It's like being aware of your responses, being aware of your triggers, being aware of what you're doing in response to those triggers. And so when you're setting successful health goals, right, you want to turn those goals into behavior goals, not necessarily outcome goals, right? So behavior goals is something that is within your control, but an outcome goal, say maybe like lose 25 pounds, or maybe like being able to lift a certain amount of weight, is something that is out of our control at that moment, right? So we often cannot control outcome goals because we just cannot be like, okay, I'm going to lose 25 pounds at the end of this week, right? Because things like maybe, the gym is closed for renovation, your kids get sick, so you miss your workout, you have a late work meeting and you can't do your meal prep, right? And so sometimes often outcome goals are very hard to control, but you can control your behavior. You can decide what you want to do at that moment that can help you to get closer to your goal. So for example, if your gym is closed for renovation, you can go for a walk around your neighborhood instead, right? If your kid gets sick and you miss your workout, well, maybe instead of taking your meetings sitting down, you can take your meetings standing up and pace around the house, right? To kind of substitute for that missed workout. So outcome goals is something that we are unable to control whether they are going to happen or not, but behavior goals is something that we can choose what to do to get closer to our goals.
So I can make better choices to get closer to my goals. That's a great one. That's a good one.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
So you've given me and given our listeners and viewers a lot of ideas in a very short space of time. So when we originally spoke, you said there is something that you would like to offer viewers and listeners that can move them forward. What is that?
Yeah, if you'd like to kind of go over the challenges on maybe why you're struggling with reaching your goals, maybe it's a weight loss goal or you're trying to create new habits, and you'd like to kind of get clarity on where to kind of help and get help to kind of reach your health and fitness goals, then what I offer is a free breakthrough call. And it's basically kind of just going over your specific goals, and just getting clear on like, where's the challenge for you, right? And oftentimes kind of just walking away from that goal, you get a lot of insight, and getting into the next steps on how to reach your goals. And so if you're interested in a breakthrough call, you can book your free breakthrough call at www.callwith, so WITH, Candace, CANDACE.com.
Awesome. So that'll be on the screen. So for any of you listeners, please, I would really encourage you to have that breakthrough call with Candace. She'll certainly put you on the road to success in more than one area. So Candace, in closing, what would you say are your maybe top 3 tips for anybody who's having issues such as, in fact, there's one more question I want to ask you.
Yeah.
What about people who have a sweet tooth and are always looking for that extra little thing to satisfy them?
That's me. I definitely have a serious sweet tooth. So one of my things, my philosophy is that, if you have it in the house, somebody eventually is going to eat it, whether it is you, whether it's someone else. And so one of the principles about, like, if you don't want to be the one eating it, don't bring it into the house, right? So I'm not saying that sweet tooth, having sweets is completely off limits, but if it's something that you want to reduce or maybe cut out, you want to make sure and be aware that, you want to shape your environment to shape you up, to set you up for success. So if instead of like going to the grocery store and you're buying candy, chocolate, chips, or cookies, why not just buy fruit, something healthier, right? And so if you have something healthy in your house, someone, maybe you or someone you love, will marginally tolerate it and eventually eat it. So, so if you don't want to have to eat sweets, don't bring it into the house. So to kind of just give that a try and just make it very difficult for you to get a hold of sweets if it's something that you want to cut out.
That's the best tip I've heard, Candace. Thank you. So that's tip number 1. So do you have another 2 tips to help women stay on track when they're trying to get back to their goal weight, as it were?
Yeah, I just want to kind of just in closing, just to kind of give like just 3 guiding principles for making changes. The first principle is repetition. So often there's a skill you need to learn to kind of get to your goal, and practicing it means you're going to get better at it. The second principle is consistency. If it's important, then you want to do it every day. It's kind of like taking a small step to your goal every day. You're not going to get there overnight, and you're not going to get there if you only do it once or twice a week. But consistency is kind of something where you're going to keep practicing and it becomes a habit. And the last principle is simplicity, right? If the skill that you need to learn to kind of get to your goal is too complicated or it takes too much time, you want to kind of break it down, because keeping it simple makes it easier to take action on it. So those 3 words, repetition, consistency, and simplicity, are the guiding principles for all the changes that you want to make in your life.
Wow, I love the way you summed it up. It makes it feel like, yes, I can do this. Yeah, I can do this, Candace. Thank you. I hope other women who are listening to this and who are watching can really grasp the simplicity of that and take it on board as we move forward to take charge of our health naturally. So, Candace, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you so much for having me, Margie.
Wonderful. Thanks, Candace. Bye for now.